black, and then 1 or 2 layers are white, and that preserves the inside of the airplane, keeps the dust out, some of the critters, and some of the sun. To replace the spray light now. The of course, is a single-engine supersonic fighter and attack plane that our Air Force is still flying. These are even some of the models that they're still flying, but these particular ones have been retired, and they are candidates for target drones. They've only been here a few years. There was a much more ancient group of F-16s parked here before, but I guess they wanted to keep the target drone candidates be the ones who have been flying more recently. And on our right, as we keep going down here, are a whole field of C-130 aircraft, 4-engine turboprop. We'll say more about the C-130 on the tour. You'll notice there's a couple out here. And so, but first they take the precious metals out of those engines before they do that. Okay, we're going to come up here and make a left turn and go down what we call Celebrity Row, where they've lined up examples of most of the aircraft that are stored out here. And they all have alphanumeric designators, which give you an idea of what their mission was when they were flying around the military. So I'll try to remember to highlight that. And I always start on our left. That first aircraft on your left there is a twin turboprop, the Army OV-1 Mohawk. The O stands for observation. This is an aircraft that flies low and slow over the battlefield and calls in strikes. And it has electronic imaging equipment to assist it in that mission. And it's the F-105 Thunder Chief. This is an Air Force fighter bomber, single-engine supersonic, that was built in the 1950s as part of a series called the Century series, because they all started with 100-something in their number. This was built for nuclear attack. However, it ended up that its primary role was as a primary strike bomber over North Vietnam during the early days of the Vietnam War. And F-14s, called Tomcat. This is a twin-engine supersonic Navy fighter interceptor, which was also later modified for reconnaissance and strike. She just waved. 6 Apache helicopters. And on top of the cargo, there's seating for 75 troops. So it's been a fantastic plane. They built about 100 of them or so, but maybe a few more. And they seem to be retiring a number of them, but they need a lot of parts for them. Okay, look at the red tails on the F-4s there. That indicates they are target drones. Let's see what. Oh yeah, a bunch of Hueys. Who does it say they are? Marines. It's not Marine. How about that? See, they put that spray light on? They're doing it right there. They just put it on black, and eventually they'll end up with white, and it looks like just building a whole little row of them there. So that's kind of new since last week, right? Yeah. Okay. So you see a lot of activity here. You don't always know what's happening until it happens like that, like they put them in storage. Up here we see an area off of our right where a lot of the aircraft that come in for storage start their voyage to their final parking place. The twin rotor ones there are going to be stored. So some Marines are phasing those out. This is stuff that comes out of that big building there. This building is a shipping and receiving building. Notice the open bay hangar there. They do a lot of maintenance there, as well as they maintain stored aircraft. They do contract work and upgrades and so forth. And this shipping and receiving building basically processes about 1,000 parts per month. And you see they have to build boxes for most of the stuff. And the Sherpa, the interesting boxy little Army plane, and then there's another P-3 there next to it. The big hangar there behind the wash rack is where they regenerate the F-16s. And I always like to say a few kind words about the test pilot that has to do his job out here. You take those F-4s that they did before. Those planes have been the aircraft that were stored out here, flew in under their own power by a pilot from their service. See, there's some more of those Army Sherpas there. So this is a museum storage area up here. Those are all big C-5s stored, the biggest ones there. Don't know if they're going to leave them there or put them over on the other side. And if you're a fan of the 111, there's the last one you'll probably see out here, parked right there. Kind of facing this right now. And then some missile sections, a couple of Thor and a couple of Titan sections. So theoretically, some of the airplanes could go to a museum, but it would probably take some money on the part of the museum. So we're going to quickly cross over. We're going to get back a few minutes late, so we'll make this kind of fast. Crossing Cold Road, we're going up to the parts reclamation side. You'll notice these airplanes are missing a lot of big pieces. They've been taking parts off of them for a long time. There's only a few things out here, though, that are new that we didn't see on the other side. And one is, as we pass these large aircraft, these KC-135, look behind them. Look behind them in the next row. That is the WB-57. And NASA is still flying those modified B-57s. See how cool they look? They look like U-2s when they after they modified them that way. So it's still being flown. And T-38s, they need these for parts because they're almost as old as those B-57s. Still some F-4s flown by our allies, a couple of our own target drones that might need parts. After this F-4, take a look at the field way down the end of this. Way down the end of this field right here. There's the last two F-14s. Parked right down there. They claim they're going to go to a museum. That was what they told us last year, and that's still true. And those are the B-1 bombers. Now, Mode F-18. This field here, kind of right over, kind of straight angle to our right there, those are the propeller planes. Those are C-2 Greyhounds, which are used in the COD role today. But evidently they're retiring some of them. C5s. If you can see on the other side of the C5s, and a lot of these planes that come out over there, you'll see a lot of B-52 sections lying around on the ground that were cut up under the star trees. When they first started doing the B-52s, they had a 13,000-pound guillotine, and they dropped it from a crane, chopping out both wings, chopping the fuselage into 3 sections. But they had to start being more surgical about it. See all the